Since I talked to you about the standard normal curve in part A, and I said we were going to have two parts, part A, part B, I decided to go ahead and take and break part B down into two parts. So we're going to do 21 through 29 odd, and we're going to do that in this lesson, and you'll work that, and then we'll pick up and do 31 through 41 odd. So we'll take this one section, we're going to break it into three lessons. I think it'll be a little easier to pick up. So let me talk a little bit first about the normal curve. Told you to make sure that you knew that the mean was 0, or the mean is the mean, median, and mode. All of those are the same spot. The part we're going to worry about is the mean, and the mean in these are 0. When we start using our calculator a little bit, we'll see that the mean is 0, and we'll see that the standard deviation is 1. Now, we covered this in chapter 3. We covered what the z-score was. That's the number you're talking about minus the mean of all the stuff, all the numbers you have, divided by the standard deviation. Now you know that we've got this Greek letter and this Greek letter. That means that we're using the population and not sample space. What we will do is pick up from chapter 3. We're going to be using this, and we're going to be figuring z-scores. Now, in the book, when they give you these problems, if you notice, now I've got problem 21 up here, and we're going to work it on our calculator. But if you notice, they do not say z equal. They just got 1.25, 0.36, negative 0.71, 1.62, negative 0.28, z equal to 0.94. They don't put the z on there, but we are, because that's what we're talking about. These are the z values. If we were to look on a chart, which we're not going to worry about, but if we looked on a chart, they'd have the z values. They'd have like 3 numbers in the left column of the chart. They would have the hundredths place in the top row of the chart, and then we'd have to look it up. Calculators are nice. They're going to give us that information, and we're going to be able to do it a lot simpler than we would if we were using a chart. All right. What would happen is we've got these numbers, and we know that z is 1.25. And what we're going to do is, and by the way, the mean in this thing is right here on all of them. The total area under the normal curve, everything from here all the way over to here, the area under the normal curve, all of that area adds up to 1. So what happens is, if we look at this, now we can just look, we want to know what percentage of is in here to the left of z equal 1.25. We're going to get a decimal point. Now just looking at it, it looks like, and of course my drawing's terrible, I know it's been that way all year, and it's not getting any better, probably getting worse. But if I just look at it, that's about 80%. I've got about 80% of that shaded in, maybe a little more than 80% shaded in. And what we're looking for is z equal to 1.25. And again, z is the number of standard deviations away from the mean. So we had the number x, and the mean of this whole thing, the things that we're looking at was mu, and we got the standard deviation. If I divide that, that's the number of standard deviations between this number and the mean. All right, now we're going to do this. We want to find the area in here. We know it's a decimal. The whole thing under this standard normal curve adds up to 1. We want to know what's shaded right here. Now, hopefully I can do this on a calculator. I'm going to try to put my calculator up in front of the camera, and we're going to go through the process that we will go through in order to find the answer for this. So let's give this a try and see how it's going to work. First of all of us know that when we start something new, we're going to 7.1 to our calculators. So we're going to go second memory 7.1.2. That's got our calculator cleared. That we've taken all the junk off, and somebody may have been playing with your calculator. We've got all that off, and we're ready to go. So let's see if we can do this. The place that we're going to go on our calculator is going to be second distribution. All right, everybody plug that in. We got second distribution. And we want to come down to number 2. which is the normal CDF. That's the normal curve, and it's where we are able to plug in our z-values. So we're going to hit enter. It says lower. Now, they've already got -1 e to the 99th. That's scientific notation, which means that's an extremely small number. In other words, that goes almost forever out here. Not forever, but it's real small. And that's going to be our lower. Well, we're satisfied with that, so we're going to leave it alone. We're going to come down to upper. Upper is your z-value right there, which is 1.25. 1.25. Now, the mean is already 0. We said that at the beginning. The mean is 0. Standard deviation on all of these is going to be 1. And then we're going to hit enter until we get our answer. And we see that the answer is 0.8943. I'll write that up there. That is, we see that this area in here is 0.8943 and so forth. There is the area shaded in. Okay, now then we're going to do B on that. And for B, we're trying to find the part of the chart that the part of the normal curve that's shaded in right here. And so we're going to go back and do it the same way, only we'll just plug in different values. So here we go. We go back to second distribution. And again, we come down to number 2. You can either come down and hit it, or you can hit number 2. This time the lower. Well, the lower on this thing is, this time is 0.36. So we hit 0.36. And when we go to upper this time, it's real large. So I think I'll plug in, let's plug in 1,000. We know that actually 3 standard deviations away from the mean is getting on out there. You're going to be in the 90-something% on when you do that. So let's just put a large number. I'm going to put 50 in there. That's the large. It's going to work just fine. And then I'm going to come down and hit enter, 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 enter. And then I hit enter, and I see that this area over here is 0.35942 and so forth. So here is the part under the normal curve that is shaded in there. Okay, I want to do C. I want to know what's shaded in here. Now, there's multiple ways I can do that. But the easiest way is just to go ahead and use our normal distribution on our calculator. So again, I'm going to clear that. And we're going to go back to second distribution. We're going to come down to number 2. We're going to hit enter. The lower this time has a z-value of -0.71. So, and I guess I should be pulling that back where you can see it. -0.71. And then we come down in the upper this time is 1.62. Again, the mean is 0. The standard deviation is 1. So we're going to start hitting enter until we hit our last one there. And we see that the amount that's shaded in is 70.85%, 0.7085. So we're going to put that answer down here. 0.70853 and so forth. Okay, D part. This time, we want to know what this area is plus this area. And then if we use common sense, I mean, this is not rocket science. If we use common sense, there's 2 ways we can do it. I could do it like I did these 2 and add the answers together. That would get me the correct answer. Take this area plus this area. Or if I want to, I can take 1 minus the area of this inside part. Now, to me, that seems like the easiest way to do it. That's less buttons I have to push if I will consider it 1 minus whatever this area right here that's not shaded is, since we know all the area adds up to 1. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Don't have to do it that way. We could do the areas separately and add them together like we said, but this will be a little shorter. And always in math, we like to do it the shortest way. All right, so we're going to do that. Again, I'm going to come in here and go to second distribution. I'm going to come down to number 2. I'm going to hit enter. And this time we're going to use the lower as negative 0.28. And our upper is going to be 0.94. And then we're going to hit enter and enter and enter and enter and enter. And we see that this area right in here was 0.43665 and so forth. So we're going to take 1 minus that, 1 minus 0.43665 like so. And we're going to do that on a calculator. Now, I'm not going to pull it up close for that because I know everybody can handle this part on a calculator. We've done it hundreds of times. 1 minus 0.43665, and we hit enter. And when we do, we get 0.56335 for the shaded area. Now, the problems that appear below that, like on 22, the problems that appear on 29 through, on 23 through 29 are the same problems. The only difference is, instead of drawing this for you, they just give you what the values are. For example, if I were to look at 23, it says, find the area under standard curve to the left of, and it's got z equal 0.74. I'm going to do it exactly like I did this one here. Instead of plugging in 1.25, I'm going to plug in 0.74. Of course, 0.74 would have been along in here, and that will give me the area under the curve. All of those are going to be worked exactly the same way. When I get 24, it's going to be worked just like this. When I get to 25, they're asking for the area to the right of the curve. So they're giving me, like on the first one there, A, they're starting off with negative 1.55 going right here. So I'll work it exactly like I did B. The only difference is, instead of plugging in 0.36, I would plug in negative 1.55. If I look over at 26, again, it's to the right, just like B. When I get to 27, they're asking me for the area between, like A, between negative 0.75 and 1.70. That becomes just like this. The lower z, negative 0.75, we'd plug that in there. The upper bound, the larger z, we would plug in 1.70 instead of 1.62 like we did on this when we did this problem. When we get on down to 29, we see that this is talking about outside the lines. Therefore, it'll be worked just like D. The only difference is when I see the first Z, this right here, we would add negative 0.38 for that Z. The other Z, 1.02, this right here would have been 1.02. Okay, now that should get you through 21 through 30. And again, what I've decided to do, I'm going to let you do that as part of the lesson. And you guys work on that. Again, send me a question if you got it. And I will come back on C part and explain how to do problems 31 through 39. All right, guys, get busy.